All right, here we go with some more quarantine teaching. Day like 28 or 20. I don't, you just lose track of it at this point. It's just a day that ends in Y. Okay, today's Monday, so we're starting it all new. We're going to do some practice with central and inscribed angles. So, quick recap on that if you forgot. Basically, you have a circle. So, if you're in the center, like this here, that's called a central angle. And the arc, which was created by creating that angle, if the arc was 80 degrees, then the angle is 80. So these guys are congruent, equal to each other. Then you have an inscribed angle. Okay, so here's the center. It doesn't matter where it goes, but what we know is that the vertex angle is not going to be in the center. It's going to be somewhere on the circle. And then what happens is, again, we'll use the same numbers. If that arc is 80, they're not going to be equal to each other, but you would take half of that, and that's what creates the angle. So half of the arc will equal the angle, or if you're kind of going the other way, you would double the angle, and then that would equal the arc. So those are your two, and that's what we're going to do a whole bunch of practice on here today. So when you're looking at this, if you look at the questions, they're asking about all of the arcs that we have in the circle. So before I even try to answer these questions, why don't we find all of the arcs? These are all going to be central angles since all of them pass through the center. So we know that TS would be 19. If you roll through here, okay, we have vertical angles that pass through the center, and that right there, angle QUR, is also going to be 19. That means that arc QR would be 19. Remember that when you have this little symbol here, it's talking about that he's going to be 90 degrees. Okay, so all of a sudden I knew that one of those angles was 19, so if I subtract 90 and 19, you're going to get 71, which then means that this arc here would also be 71. A good place to look, okay, when you're doing these kind of questions is for that straight line that passes through the center. Okay, so if here's your center, right there, you know that that, again, because it passes through the center, that's important, is 180 degrees. So here we already knew that we had 90, so we know that this side here is going to be 90 because 90 and 90 is going to be 180, which means that this arc here is going to be 90 degrees. You roll to the other side, okay, then you're going to notice, okay, here's another 180 that you can do, okay, from TR. So you had 19, so if you did 180 minus 19, that's going to give you 161. So now you have all parts of this circle. If you add them together, if you did all of your math correct, then remember all arcs are going to give you 360 degrees, okay, rotation around a circle. So here we go, starting with PQ. Here's PQ. We found that to be 71. We have SR. Here's SR right here. That's going to be 161. Then we're going to go to our QRT. So remember when you have those 3 points there, follow in that order. So don't go through T to get to R. Okay, go from Q to R to T. So here's Q, here's R, and here's T. Okay, so there it is. So it's 19 plus 161 plus 19, and that's going to give you 199. Okay, and then PSR. Okay, so here's P, then here's S, and then here's R. So you have the 90 plus the 19 plus the 161. That's going to be 270 degrees. And then arc PS. Okay, so here's PS right here. And remember when you were doing that, okay, which way do I go? Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Okay, you just got to go towards the, I guess, the shortest distance. Okay, the shortest distance should be your answer. So you're going to be doing the 90 plus the 19, and that's going to give you 109. All right, so there you go. So if you want to give a pause, try number 2. That would be cool. Very similar question. Okay, it even has that 90 in there. All right, so again, they're asking about all the arcs. So I'll go ahead and find all those arcs. So if you're 90, then you're 90. Then here's that diameter again. So half of, or 180 minus 90 is also going to be 90. So these guys are going to be 90. Okay, and then again, you're kind of breaking this into 4 equal sections. So all of these corners here are going to be 90. So then that guy right there, he's going to be 90 also. This arc here, again, comes from the 34, take away 90, okay, because, again, you still have a 90 right there. So 90 minus 34 is going to be 56. Okay, so that's going to give you all of your arcs there. Again, double check, add them all up, they should equal 360 degrees. So CD is 90. Arc FD, okay, here's FD. Remember, you can go this way or you can go this way, and we're going to go the shortest distance, and that's going to be 90 plus 34. That's going to be 124. DCF, so I'm going to trace from D to C to F, and that's going to be 90 plus 56. That's going to be 236. And then finally, GDF. Okay, G, here's D, and here's F. So I would go this way. Okay, and you'd be 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 34, and that's going to be 304. There you go. All right, next one. Similar question, except now we're throwing a variable in there. Okay, we're solving for x, and then from there we can go ahead and start finding arcs. So when I look at this question, at first here I see I have two diameters, okay, that cross. Now, because they're doing this, remember you have vertical angles. So technically, I could rewrite this here and rewrite this here since they're also central angles. And now, what would be true about these two angles? Well, they would be congruent or equal to each other. So 10x minus 22 is equal to 8x plus 12. So if these two angles, the central angles, so these two arcs, AD and BC, would also be congruent. So then we go ahead and do a little math, move the 8x to this side, I'll get 2x. Move the 22 to this side, I'm going to get 34. Divide both sides by 2, you're going to get x to be 17. Okay, now again, now they're going to want all those other arcs. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to substitute that 17 into x. So 10 times 17 minus 22, that's going to be 148. 8 times 17 plus 12 better also be 148. Similar to before, this is a diameter right here. Okay, the diameter is 180, so you can do 180 minus 148, and that's going to give you 32. And the same game here, this is going to give you 32 there. So then now you have all of your arcs there. So now first says to find arc AD. Here's arc AD. We found that to be 148. Here's arc CD, right there, marked it there. That's going to be 32. Then you have arc BDC. Okay, so now I'm going to follow. And they're going to go that way. And then that's going to be 212 after adding 32, 148, and 32. Right, so there's a little practice, kind of doing the same things that we did in 1 and 2, but now we're throwing an x in there instead of me just giving you the angle. All right, so now let's do some practice with inscribed angles. Remember, inscribed angles, if you're going out from the angle, you're going to double it. If you're coming in from the arc, you're going to take half of it. Oh, boy. Oh, now I really messed up. I don't know how I did that. Let's try to recover. Can't undo it. Now I'm all over the place. There it is. All right, back to my inscribed. All right, so the first one they're giving me, and now I know it's inscribed because the vertex angle here, or the vertex point there, is on the circle, so it's 88. So now to find this arc that was created from that angle, or as they're calling it, arc JML, you're just going to double 88, or 88 times 2, and then that's going to be 176. All right, so there you go there. Next one, WXY. Trace it. Here's W, here's X, here's Y. That is this angle right there. So if I project that out, I can grab it from this arc. But if you notice, they didn't give me that arc either. They just gave me this 86 and 156. So what I would have to do here in order to find that is I would have to add the 86 and the 156, and that's going to give me 242. Now, remember, a circle is 360 degrees, so if I did 360 minus 242, that's going to give me 118. So that is what completes this circle. So 118 plus 86 plus 156 gives me 360. So now we're going to move in from the arc, and remember, to do that, we're going to divide this 118 divided by 2, and then that's going to give me 59, and that is the angle X right here, 59 degrees. All right, number 6, okay, what do they want? Arc FE. So here's the arc. Now in order to get arc FE, I have to figure out or know what this angle right here is. Okay, so now I don't have any of that, but what I'm looking at here is I see a triangle. Now remember, you have 3 angles of a triangle, and if you find their sum, they should equal 180 degrees. What I can do is I could find this angle right here. Okay, why could I find that angle right there? Because if you look, when you project out from the F, it's grabbing this arc right here, which is a diameter, which is 180. So this right here, that's 90 degrees. So you have a 90, you have a 63. So how many more degrees do we have left? And that's going to give me 27. So if you added 27 plus 90 plus 63, that's going to give me my 180. Now to find the arc, am I going to double or half? Well, hopefully you said double, and then that's going to give you 54 degrees for that arc. Okay, so there's some work there, and that's kind of the basics of inscribed angles. And now let's jump over number 7 and 8 here, which is similar, but like the last one, I'm throwing in an X in there, and we're going to be solving for that X. So here we have the angle, and then you have the arc. So it does not matter which way you go. I like to kind of keep things more consistent, and it's always easier to try to double something than to half it, okay? So double the angle equals the arc. The angle is 8x minus 9, and the arc is 158. So if I double the angle, okay, 2 times 8x minus 9, that's going to give me 158. Now just go ahead and solve. So you'll have 16x minus 18 equals 158. Then you're going to add the 18 to both sides, and you're going to get 176. Then divide the 16 on both sides, and you're going to get 11. And then from there, you could substitute the 11 and go ahead and find whatever else that they may or may not want you to find. But for this case, solving for x, x is going to be 11. All right, so here's number 8. Okay, double the angle is going to give you the arc. So if I did double of 7x minus 10, that's going to give me the arc, which is unknown because they gave me these outside guys. Well, that was similar to the one we did up here. There's technically 1, 2, 3 arcs, so those 3 arcs have to equal 360. So add up the 92 and the 162. Well, if I did the 92 plus the 162, that's going to give me 254, and subtract that from 360, and that's going to give me 106. So then I can just go ahead and plug that in right there, 106. And then let's just do some math. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. So 14x is going to give me 126. Divide over here by 14, and you're going to get x to be 9. Okay, and again, there you go. So there's some practice with some inscribed angles. And then our last one here is using the quadrilaterals. And when we were doing quadrilaterals, we learned that the opposite sides are going to have to equal 180 degrees. So what do they want? They want angle V, angle W, and angle X. Well, here you go. Opposite there is just 180 minus 51, and then that's going to give you 129. So angle W is going to be 129. Now what you're going to do here is you're going to have to now try to figure out these opposite angles. And if you look, you really don't have too much from that. But it's going to go back to that inscribed angles. Okay, you don't have either. So let me get a different color here so that you can see what I'm talking about. So if I did angle X, right? Angle X, if I project that out, grabs the 101 and the 67. So if I did 101 and 67, I'm going to get 168. So this arc is 168. Now if you bring that inside, if you bring this inside, that, remember, arc to angle, take half, so that means that angle X is going to be 84. Now go opposite of that. If you go opposite of that, you're going to have angle V, so you would just do 180 minus 84, and that's going to give you 96. And there you go. That's how you're going to get that there. Same question here. Okay, solve for X. Well, these are the two angles that are most important, right? Those are the two angles that are most important. So what I could do, okay, first I can take a look at this 50 and this 96. Add those two up, and that's going to give you 146. Now if you go ahead and take half of the 146, okay, because again, angle H is created from this arc, that's going to give you 73. So one of the things you could do is that you could do 12x minus 25 plus 73 is going to give you 180. Okay, that's one method. Another method, okay, take a look at this just to make sure we're exploring everything here, is I can do the same thing I just told you, or the same thing I just said, but look at it backwards, right? And what I mean by that is, well, here is the angle. That angle was created from this arc, right? So if you doubled 12x minus 25, that's going to be equal to the arc with GI. So then if you did 360 minus the 146, okay, because that would make the three arcs, that's going to give me 214. So I can set this equal to 214. Okay, solve both of these. It doesn't matter which one you solve, but both of them are going to give you 11. All right, so there's some extra practice right there with some central angles. The next page on this packet can give you even more practice with all the stuff that we just learned. So if you're new to this whole thing, you like what you see, remember you go to cimath.com, geometry, you'll find this packet with the work to do. Hopefully this was helpful. Like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. All right, everybody, have a great day.